So, USCIS issues written notices in the form of RFEs or requests for evidence, and they do that to request for missing initial or additional evidence. The good news is that USCIS is always very specific about these letters. They tell you exactly what they want, then you can go ahead and find the documents and respond. Today I'm going to share some tips with you that will help you avoid getting RFEs on your EB2-NIW application. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ozzy. If this is your very first time, welcome. This is a channel where I talk about applying for a green card under the EB2-NIW category, otherwise called the Employment-Based Second Preference National Interest Waiver category. If you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do so right now. And then if you want to get a notification in your email, be the first to watch my videos, go ahead and click on the bell sign. Today I'm going to talk about 5 common reasons why people get RFE on their EB2-NIW application and what you can do to avoid getting an RFE, okay? So an RFE means request for evidence. Now sometimes when you turn in your application, you feel like everything is complete, everything looks good, and certain mistakes that you can make that can cause USCIS to issue an RFE or request for evidence. And so today I'm going to share a little bit about the 5 common reasons why you would probably get an RFE. Now when I applied for my green card, I self-petitioned, I did it myself. I didn't need a lawyer or a sponsor. I didn't get an RFE, and so I think I know a little bit about what USCIS is looking for. And I've also gone through a lot of cases, and I've looked through USCIS archives just to see people who actually got RFEs and appealed their cases, just to see how they fulfilled those requirements. Today I'm going to share some tips with you that will help you avoid getting RFEs on your EB2-NIW application. So if you're new to my channel and you don't know what the requirements for EB2-NIW, I've done a lot of videos talking about that. I'm going to put a link right now where you can actually go and watch that video when you're done with this video, okay? So you know what the requirements are. But briefly, you need to have an advanced degree, you need to show you're exceptional, and you also need to fulfill the criteria for the National Interest Waiver. Those are 3 requirements that you have to meet to qualify for EB2-NIW. Now, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why you probably will get a request for evidence. And the request for evidence is not denial. This is USCIS saying, hey, we got your application, but we think we don't have all it takes to give you an approval right now. And they're giving you a chance to go ahead and send them additional documentation so they can go ahead and analyze your case further. All right. So that's what an RFE really is. When you receive it, I know it's sad, you receive an RFE, but look at it this way. They're giving you a second chance to send in more documents, and that way they can give you an approval if you're able to meet those requirements. Okay. So USCIS issues written notices in the form of RFEs or requests for evidence, and they do that to request for missing initial or additional evidence. Now the cool thing is that when USCIS sends you that written notice to let you know that they need more evidence from you, there are 3 things that they're going to state in that letter, okay? They're going to be very specific about what they want from you. They're going to tell you specifically what eligibility requirements that were not met, all right? And this gives you a chance to directly address that requirement, okay? The second thing USCIS is going to do is that they're going to identify specifically what missing evidence they want from you, all right? So they're going to tell you what eligibility requirements you missed, and then they're going to tell you what specific requirement they want from you. And thirdly, they're going to identify other forms of evidence that could be accepted, all right? So they're going to give you suggestions for other forms of evidence that you submit in order to meet that eligibility requirement. The good news is that USCIS is always very specific about these letters. They tell you exactly what they want, then you can go ahead and find the documents and respond. Now when you're responding, remember that on the written notice, USCIS is probably going to give you a month to respond, but that time frame is going to be on the written notice, and you would know when you need to send that response in, all right? Okay, so with the COVID-19 lockdown, if you received an RFE between March 1 to May 1, USCIS is going to give you more time to actually respond to that RFE. And they're giving you up to 60 days after the response deadline on your RFE written notice, all right? They're giving you up to 60 days after the response deadline that was initially given to you on your RFE notice. So you have a little more time to actually respond to these notices, okay? Now let's talk about 5 common reasons why people get RFEs. Number 1, if you don't submit appropriate evidence to support the requirements for the National Interest Waiver, you're probably going to get an RFE. Now, the National Interest Waiver, you have to show first that you're proposing to work in an area that is national in scope and has substantial merit. Now, if you don't submit appropriate evidence to back this up, you probably get an RFE. And what kind of evidence are they looking for? Can you get recommendation letters from experts in your field talking about why this field is so important? Can you get any data that shows that these are the statistics that show the people who are going to be needing your services? Can you find any documents, maybe government articles online, that can show the importance of your work, These are some of the things that you can submit in order to back up your claim that your proposed endeavor has substantial merit and is national in scope, right? The second prong of the NIW requirement is that you're well positioned to advance that endeavor. You can prove this by showing past evidence of success. You can show your advanced degree here. You can also get recommendation letters again from experts talking about your work that you've done in the past and the impact of your work. Right? You can tell them also what you're working on right now and what your plans are for the future in that specific area that you're proposing to work in, all right? And so these are ways that you can show that you're well positioned to advance that endeavor. Now, number 3, you have to show that it's going to be in the benefit of the United States to keep you in the United States and waive the labor certification requirement. And how do you do that? Super easy. You talk about your skill set and your knowledge. You talk about the important role that you play right now, or the important role that your work actually does right now. And then you also take excerpts from your recommendation letter talking about how impactful your work is and the consequence of not having you do that work. And these are ways that you can easily show that your work is super important and it's in the interest of the United States to waive that labor certification requirements. All right. So number 1, I said if you don't submit enough evidence to back up your claim for that national interest waiver, you're probably not going to get an approval right away. You'll probably get an RFE. Number 2, lack of acceptable recommendation letters. Now, you guys, I know recommendation letters seem easy, easy peasy. You can get it from anyone. No. The recommendation letters for the EB2-NIW application process are super specific. I've actually held Zoom classes where I teach people the different aspects of that letter and what should go in that letter. I offer Zoom classes to teach petitioners about what exactly should go in their recommendation letter and the different aspects of the EB2-NIW application. If you want to be part of my Zoom class, go ahead and look in the description portion of this video and you're going to see a link to register for the Zoom class. All right. I can teach you specifically what should go in the recommendation letter. But in summary, your recommendation letter should be from someone who's an expert in your field. Prioritize letters from experts who don't know you personally but know you because of the impact of your work. All right. When they write these letters for you, make sure they emphasize how they know you, the relationship ties. All right. No personal ties. And at the end of the letter, they need to actually recommend you for permanent residency. Okay. If you need help understanding what goes in a recommendation letter for the EB2-NIW process, feel free to join my Zoom class and I'll give you all that information. In addition, I also have the EB2-NIW toolkit that will help you get your application off the ground. It has templates, it has my original petition letter, all the documents I submitted. This will actually help you begin to work on your application today. If you'd like to get that information, also check in the description portion of this video. I'll provide a link to that ebook and that would really help you as well. Number 3 reason why you may receive an RFE is if your petition letter is poorly written. If your petition letter is poorly written, you probably will receive an RFE. A petition letter is just a letter that you, the petitioner, are writing to USCIS to accompany your form I-140, right? You're writing that letter and in that letter you're stating the requirements for EB2-NIW and you're stating exactly how you meet those requirements and you're backing up those statements with evidence. That's what it is. But it's also very specific in the way that you write it. I also teach this in my Zoom class. If you want to be part of that class, look in the description portion. You can register for the class and I'll teach you how to write the petition letter. Now, when I wrote my letter, it was super long. It was like 40 pages long, but I got an approval. So I can really help you draft and craft that letter. Number 4, you talk about past achievements in your petition letter, but you don't put any evidence of those past achievements. Now, remember that USCIS officers have to make decisions based on the evidence that you provide, right? They have to make all their decisions based on objective evidence. And so you always want to back up any claims you make in your petition letter with evidence. I always tell people, if you're claiming to have done something in the past, but you have no evidence to show for it, then you're better off taking it out of your petition letter and use things that you can actually submit evidence for, right? Use things that you have done for which you have evidence, and that would actually go a long way to get you an approval. And number 5 reason why you may not get an approval is if you don't submit evidence of your advanced degree or exceptional ability, right? You're saying, I'm so exceptional, I have these awards, I have these grants, these scholarships, I publish these papers. Yes, that's all good, well and good, but you might get an RFE if you don't submit supporting evidence, right? You might get an RFE if you don't organize your documents correctly. Right? The specific way that you need to put your documents together, you have to understand that you're submitting a lot of documents and chances are that some documents can get overlooked or missed, right? You don't want that. You want to make sure that you arrange your documents, your application documents in such a way that it's easy to find every bit of evidence that you have in there. All right, so make sure that you're putting your documents together correctly and it's easy for USCIS officers to find those documents that they're looking for. You want to make it super easy.